All right, examiner, my driver's side front tire is chucked and my safety belt is on. I'm gonna start my truck up to build air pressure between 120 and 140, and I'm waiting for the governor cutout. For my truck is gonna be 130. And here I go. So I'm not gonna proceed until I hear the governor cutoff, which is that blow off sound. That was the governor cutout. Both my primary and my secondary air gauges are both at 130. I'll turn the truck off. Turn it back to the on position. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and release my brakes, and then I'm gonna wait for the air tanks to stabilize, which should take anywhere between 5 to 10 seconds. All right, air tanks have stabilized. I'm gonna hold my brake down for 1 minute, and I'm looking for no more than 4 PSI of air loss on this combination vehicle. And here I go. All right, minutes up. Examiner, over that 1 minute time, I had no more than 4 PSI of air loss, so that's working good. I'm gonna fan my brakes down to 65 PSI, and I'm looking for both my warning light on the dashboard, and I'm listening for the buzzer to go off. All right, fanned it down to 65 PSI, both my warning light on the dash and the buzzer are going off, and that's working properly. Now I'm gonna fan my brakes down to 45 to 20 PSI, and I'm looking for both my parking and my trailer brake valves to pop out. All right, they both popped out like they're supposed to. That's working properly. Now I'm gonna get out and I'm gonna remove my wheel chucks. Be right back. All right, examiner, I'm gonna start my truck back up to build air pressure to the correct PSI range, which again is 130, and I'll be waiting for that governor cutout. This time I'm gonna speed up that process by revving up my engine between 10 to 1200 RPMs. governor cutoff. Getting my attention back to the correct PSI. I'm gonna go ahead and move on to my parking brake check. In order to do that, I need to release my trailer brakes, put it in drive, and gently tug against my parking brakes, make sure that they're holding. Trailer brakes, put it in drive. All right. Parking brakes are holding properly. Now I'm gonna do my trailer brake check. I'm gonna release my parking brake, place it in drive, and gently tug against my trailer brakes to make sure that they're holding. Alright, my trailer brakes are holding properly. I'm going to move on to my surface brake check. I'm going to release both my brakes. I'm going to put it in drive, and I'm going to drive 5 miles per hour forward, and I'm going to stop. I'm going to make sure that my brakes stop the truck evenly and that I feel no tugging in my steering wheel, indicating that there's something wrong with my brakes. Examine my service brakes are working properly. They stop the truck evenly. I didn't feel any tugging in my steering wheel. It's good to go. I'm gonna go ahead and move on to my lighting indicators now. All right, lighting indicators. My left turn signal indicator is working properly. My right turn signal indicator is working properly. My 4-way flasher indicators are working properly. My high beam headlight indicator is working properly. My DEF indicator is working properly, and I can have no less than a minimum eighth of a tank. Right now I'm at half. I'm gonna check my ABS lights. There's gonna be 2 on the dash, 1 on the trailer. Perfect. All right, 1 on the trailer and the 2 on my dashboard. Both came on and went off. They're working properly. All right, moving on to my emergency equipment. I have my 3 red reflective triangles right here. They're properly mounted and secure. I have my spare electrical fuses right here, minimum of 6. And I have my fire extinguisher right here to my left, which is properly mounted and secure, and it's properly charged or it's fully charged. My windshield and traffic monitor devices. My windshield, it is properly mounted and secure. It's clean, no obstructions, no illegal stickers, and there's no flaws in the glass, no chips, cracks, nothing's broken on it. My mirrors, my 2 side mirrors here, and the 2 hood mirrors, they're all clean and adjusted properly from the inside. I can see straight down my trailer. Wipers and washers. My wiper arms are properly mounted and secure. They're not bent, broken, cracked, missing, or damaged. My wiper blades are properly mounted and secure. They're not cut, ripped, frayed, torn, or missing. And they are working properly. I want to make sure that my washers, for one, are spraying and that I have fluid. And they're working properly and I have fluid. Moving on to my heater and my defroster. I'm going to turn the motor on, turn it to heat, checking the floor first. Heater's working properly. Turn it to my defroster. And my defroster is working properly. I'll turn that off. Alright, now I'm doing my horns. My electric horn or city horn is working properly. And my air horn or highway horn is also working properly. At this time, can you please assist me with checking all my external lights? I would like to check my headlights first. You can check those first. Left turn signal, right turn signal, 4-way flashers, low beams, and high beams. Can you check my clearance lights and my side marker lights? All right, can you please go to the tail end of my vehicle so I can check the tail lights? Left turn signal, right turn signal, 4-way flashers, brakes, and running lights. All right, lights off, truck off, and get out. Starting off with my front of the vehicle lenses first. I want to inspect my headlights and of course my clearance lights. I want to make sure they're all properly mounted secure. They're not bent, broken, cracked, missing, or damaged. They're all clean and they're properly colored. Amber for my clearance and for my turn signals, and white for my headlights. All right, moving on to fluid levels. I popped it. Alright, starting off with my coolant reservoir. I want to make sure it's properly mounted secure. It is not bent, broken, cracked, missing, or damaged. This is the minimum level and this is the max level, and it's properly filled right there at the max. I want to make sure that my caps are tight and overall I don't see any leaks. My engine oil dipstick is how I check the oil. I would pull out the dipstick, wipe it clean, reinsert, take it back out, and make sure that it's in operating range or that it's full. Stay back in. Coming out here to my power steering fluid reservoir. I want to make sure it's properly mounted secure. It is not bent, broken, cracked, missing, or damaged. This is the minimum, that's the max, and it's properly filled right there at the max. I want to make sure that the caps are tight, and overall, I want to see no leaks. All right, fluid and air leaks now. Checking down here under my engine. I want to make sure there's no puddles or any leaks, and I want to be checking throughout my engine, looking for any dripping fluids or any leaks, and I don't see any. Coming back up here to my coolant hose, making sure it's properly mounted secure. It's not cut, ripped, frayed, torn, or missing, and I see no leaks. Come down here to my power steering hoses, making sure they are properly mounted secure. They're not cut, ripped, frayed, torn, or missing, and again, I see no leaks. Come right here to all my air lines, making sure they're properly mounted secure. They are not cut, ripped, frayed, torn, or missing, and I don't hear any leaks. All right, moving on to my steering systems. This is my steering shaft. I want to make sure it's properly mounted secure. It's not bent, broken, cracked, missed, or damaged. I'm going to twist it. I want to make sure it has no more than 10 degrees of play. If it does not. These are my U-joints. They're both properly mounted secure. They're not bent, broken, cracked, missed, or damaged. I also want to make sure that they're properly greased. Power steering box, properly mounted secure. Not bent, broken, cracked, missing, or damaged, and I see no leaks. Pitman arm, properly mounted secure. Not bent, broken, cracked, missing, or damaged. My drag link, properly mounted secure, not bent, broken, cracked, missing, or damaged. Steering knuckle, properly mounted secure, not bent, broken, cracked, missing, or damaged. And my tie rod, properly mounted secure, not bent, broken, cracked, missing, or damaged. All my nuts and bolts are present, not missing, including my castle nut, cotter key, and my castle nut and cotter key down here. All right, moving on to my tires. All right, I've been checking my tire inflation using a tire pressure gauge. I want to make sure it has no less than 105 psi. While I'm checking the pressure, I want to make sure the valve stem and cap is properly mounted secure and it's not bent, broken, cracked, missed, or damaged. Next is the condition of my tire. I'll be checking the outside wall, the inside wall, and the tread here. Make sure there's no cuts, rips, frays, tears, gashes, bulges, abrasions, bulges, everything else. And I want to make sure that this tread here is wearing down evenly, which it is. Next is the tread depth. By using a tread depth gauge, I'll be making sure that my steer tires have no less than 4/30 seconds of tread depth left, and the remaining tires in the back have no less than 2/30 seconds of tread depth left. Next is rims. All right, my rim here is properly mounted secure. It's not bent, broken, cracked, missing, or damaged. There's no illegal welds. Next is the bolt holes. I want to make sure that they are not elongated or out of round. They're perfect circles. Lug nuts. I want to make sure all my lug nuts are properly mounted secure. They're not bent, broken, cracked, missing, or damaged. I want to make sure there's no rust trails or shiny metal shavings indicating that they are loose. They are not. The studs. I want to make sure they're all properly mounted secure, not bent, broken, cracked, missing, or damaged. All right, spring mounts, airbags, and shocks. All right, come in here. These are my leaf springs. They are properly mounted and secure. They are not bent, broken, cracked, missing, or damaged. They are straight and aligned, and they are not shifted. My front mount, front spring mount, and the rear spring mount, they are properly mounted and secured. They are not bent, broken, cracked, missing, or damaged. My shock absorber, it is properly mounted and secured. It is not bent, broken, cracked, missing, or damaged, and I see no leaks. Last on that, I'm going to be checking from front to back along the side. I'll make sure my truck's not leaning as well. My truck's not leaning from side to side. Next is air brake hose. Air brake hose right here. I want to make sure my air brake hose is properly mounted secure. It's not cut, ripped, frayed, torn, or missing, and I hear no leaks. The connections, connectors, couplings, fittings, whatever we call them, right here, one here, and one on the other side. I want to make sure they're properly mounted secure. They're not bent, broken, cracked, missing, or damaged. And again, I don't hear any leaks. Brake contaminants, checking on the inside of our brakes here. I'll be checking the brake linings and the brake drums. I want to make sure they have no contaminants such as dirt, oil, or grease, and I don't see any of that. All right, next section, side of vehicle, lenses and reflectors. All right, I'll be inspecting my reflector here, my side marker light, my clearance light, ABS light, and my rear side marker light. I want to make sure they're all properly mounted secure. They're not bent, broken, cracked, missed, or damaged. They're all clean and they are a proper color. Amber for the front and red for the rear. All right, come back up here, do my traffic monitor devices. Starting off with my driver's side mirror. The mirror bracket itself is properly mounted secure. It is not bent, broken, cracked, missing, or damaged. The mirrors themselves are properly mounted secure. They're not bent, broken, cracked, missing, or damaged. The hood mirror, the bracket, properly mounted secure, not bent, broken, cracked, missing, or damaged. And the mirror, properly mounted secure, and is not bent, broken, cracked, missing, or damaged. Battery. All right, starting off with my battery box and the battery cover. I want to make sure it's properly mounted secure, it's not bent, broken, cracked, missed, or damaged. I need to inspect my batteries, which I cannot see, they're not visible, but when I do inspect them, I want to make sure that they're also properly mounted secure and they're not bent, broken, cracked, missed, or damaged, and I don't see any corrosion on the terminals. Next is the battery cables, which are right down here. Run into the battery box. Make sure that the battery cables are properly mounted secure, they're not cut, ripped, frayed, torn, or missing, and I see no corrosion on the connections. Fuel tanks. All right, so my fuel tank here, I want to make sure it's properly mounted secure, it's not bent, broken, cracked, missing, or damaged. I'll be checking down here for any puddles or any leaks, and then I'll be checking the hoses, making sure there's no leaks coming from there. And I want to make sure that the cap is tight. Def tank, making sure it's properly mounted secure, it is not bent, broken, cracked, missing, or damaged. Check down here for any leaks or any puddles, I don't see any. Check the hoses, make sure I don't see any leaks, I don't see any. And I want to make sure that the cap is tight. Frame, starting with the front of my frame here of the truck. I want to make sure that my frame is properly mounted secure, it's not bent, broken, cracked, missed, or damaged. All the nuts and bolts are present and I see no illegal welds. I'm going to continue on my truck frame back here. Inspecting the truck frame and the cross members. I want to make sure everything's properly mounted secure, it's not bent, broken, cracked, missed, or damaged. All nuts and bolts are present. And I see no deleted welds. I'm going to continue on my trailer frame. Check the side of the frame here. Check the cross members under here. Over here, cross members. Come down here to my axle, chassis, axle frame, whatever you want to call it. I want to make sure that everything is properly mounted secure, it's not bent, broken, cracked, missed, or damaged. All nuts and bolts are present, and I see no illegal welds. I want to make sure that the cargo walls and the cargo floor is properly mounted secure, it's not bent, broken, cracked, missed, or damaged. Overall, just make sure there's no holes on it. All right, combination vehicles only, so a new section. Starting off with my airline connectors. I'll make sure my airline connectors are properly mounted secure. They're not bent, broken, cracked, missed, or damaged. And I hear no leaks. My airlines. Making sure they're properly mounted secure. They're not cut, ripped, frayed, torn, or missing. And again, I don't hear any leaks. My glad hands. This is my emergency glad hand. This is my service glad hand. Making sure they're both properly mounted secure. They're not bent, broken, cracked, missed, or damaged. And I don't hear any leaks. This is my electrical plug on the trailer, my electrical plug on the truck, making sure that they are both properly mounted secure. They are not bent, broken, cracked, missing, or damaged. My electrical line, properly mounted secure. It is not cut, ripped, frayed, torn, or missing, and I see no exposed wires. Last on this is I want to make sure these are tied up properly so that when I am turning, for one, I have enough slack, but when I am turning, that they are not rubbing, chafing, dragging, catching, getting pinched, tangled, crimped on any of my tractor or truck parts, which they will not. All right, moving on to my fifth wheel skid plate. All right, this is my fifth wheel skid plate. I want to make sure it's properly mounted secure to my frame by the platform. Again, my fifth wheel skid plate properly mounted secure to the truck frame by the platform. I'm making sure that all nuts and bolts are present, which they are. I want to Make sure that this is not bent, broken, cracked, missing, or damaged, and it's properly greased. I'm gonna be checking the kingpin. Kingpin's right here. It's properly mounted secure. It's not bent, broken, cracked, missing, or damaged. My apron, which is this platform all the way across, I want to make sure it's properly mounted secure. It is not bent, broken, cracked, missed, or damaged. And I want to make sure that my apron is lying flat on my fifth wheel skid plate and I have no gap in between here, which it does not. Locking and safety devices. This is my lock-in jaw. It is properly mounted secure. It is not bent, broken, cracked, missed, or damaged. It is in the engaged lock position. This is my release arm. It is properly mounted secure. It is not bent, broken, cracked, missed, or damaged. And it's also in the engaged lock position. That's it. Let's get here. Alright, landing gear. I want to make sure that my landing gear is fully raised, which it is. The landing pads are properly mounted secure. They are not bent, broken, cracked, missing, or damaged. The support frame, properly mounted secure. It's not bent, broken, cracked, missing, or damaged. My crank handle is properly mounted secure. It is not bent, broken, cracked, missing, or damaged. Then I want to make sure I have clearance here. My fifth wheel system is properly positioned so that I have clearance between my landing gear and the rear end of my tractor or truck so that when I turn, they do not hit each other. Reflective tape all on the side of the trailer here. It needs to cover a minimum of 50%, which it does. It's all properly mounted secure. It's not cut, ripped, frayed, torn, or missing. It's all clean and it's proper color, which is red and white. We'll continue on back here with the reflective tape. Just make sure it's all properly mounted secure, not cut, ripped, frayed, torn, or missing. It's all clean and it's proper color as well, red and white. And then now come back here to the rear of my vehicle, checking the lenses. I'll be inspecting my tail lights and my clearance lights. I want to make sure they're all properly mounted secure. They're not bent, broken, cracked, missing, or damaged. They're all clean in their proper color, which is red. And I am now done with my pre-trip inspection.